Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Wacky and Weird Wednesday, so we're going to cover a lot, at least 8 stories of what weird shit is going on in the world today and maybe even last week, I think. Let's go ahead and cover our headlines. Today on Before Coffee, Lakers will correct spelling mistake on recently unveiled Bryant statue. And French top fencer blames positive doping test on oral sex.
Tasmanian politician promises the world's biggest chocolate fountain.
Guatemala ancient cultures consume tobacco as a ritual drink. And Alaskan Airlines flight was headed for maintenance when the door plug blew off.
And a 10-foot monolith appears on a Welsh hill.
In culture, is Sydney Sweeney's hotness the death of woke?
Those weird stories and more, which is National Earmuff Day, Wednesday, March 13, 2024 on Before Coffee.
All right, let's start with our first 2 news stories, quite short ones, both coming out of NOS Sports. Basketball club Los Angeles Lakers will correct the number of disturbing errors on the pedestal of the statue of basketball great Kobe Bryant. The bronze statue contains, among other things, the names of 2 former NBA players misspelled. Just after yesterday's story about typos in and autocorrecting people's names, and the NBA is the first one on our freaking news story to do it recently. The tribute to Bryant, who died in a helicopter accident in January 2020, was unveiled last month. The statue, which attracts many visitors every day, has been placed in front of the Lakers stadium. Now that it has been there for months, several errors appear to have been crept into the text. For example, the names of Von Waffer and Jose Calderon are misspelled. Instead of Calderon, Calderon, it says Calderson. And Von has become Vom. So that's just typos, like straight up. Like, well, the first one might have been an autocorrect. Right, Calderon, Calderson. Oh, do you mean Calderson? And autocorrected it. But Von to Vom, that's definitely just a typo. N and M are right next to each other. Both players were active in the game in January 2006, in which Bryant scored 81 points, the second highest personal score ever in the NBA game. Waffer with the Lakers, Calderon with opponent Toronto. The phrase coach's decision is also misspelled. Decision instead of decision. Oh. Wait, what? Wait. They're both spelled right. Am I being dyslexic right now? They literally spelled it. Maybe in Dutch they're spelled wrong. Wait, but why would they misspell it in Dutch?
Dutch.
I feel like that if it was in Dutch, they would have misspelled it differently. Well, either way, decision is supposedly spelled wrong. I can't tell you how it's... Oh, here we go. Decision with a C. 2 C's. Okay. Now, a C and an S. There you go. There are a few minor errors on the pedestal where Bryant's record is described in detail. In a statement issued Monday, the Lakers said they have been aware of errors for several weeks and will make every effort to correct them as quickly as possible. Mind you, these aren't like, oh, we just put a sticker on a piece of paper and oh, we need to just put that. It's definitely an engraving in stone. So, unless it was done, it definitely looks like an engraving in stone. So they typed it into a machine and then the machine wrote it wrong. So still human error. And they will correct them as quickly as possible. Bryant played the entire 20-year career for NBA club from the NBA club. The team from Los Angeles. This is probably a bad translation from this Dutch article. The 18-time All-Star won 5 NBA titles with the Lakers and was once named Most Valuable Player. He is 4th on the all-time top scorers list. Well, at least they didn't spell his name wrong, because that would be pretty embarrassing. Alright. In another sports news story, French top fencer Yasora Thibus has a striking explanation for a positive doping test last month. She is said to have ingested the banned substance Osterine after oral sex with her partner, the American former top fencer, Racing Bodden. So 2 fencers are doping, I guess. 20-year-old Thybus, who won a silver medal at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, tested positive in early February for the drug that can stimulate muscle growth. She immediately expressed her innocence. "I categorically deny that I've used doping. My many negative doping tests are proof of this," the fencer wrote in a statement. "The Olympic Games in Paris are a childhood dream for me, and I was shocked to hear this news. I'll do everything I can to prove my innocence so that I can compete in the tournament that will be the highlight of my career," she continued. Race Imboden and Yasaro Thybus, both top fencers. Thybus' lawyers told the French Le Equipe that the cause lies with Imboden. He took a product containing a steroid which infected Yasara. The transmission which led to this infection was through bodily fluids. I'm not a doctor, so I can't confirm or deny that is how you can dope. Thybus is seen as one of the contenders for the medal during the games in his own country, which starts more than 4 months. The fencer must prove her innocence within that time. So the American athlete who's also, the American athlete isn't contending. It's only Thybus, I guess. So he's doping for whatever reason, and somehow she consumed it through his bodily fluids. Okay. 2 previous cases were all for hope. Canadian canoeist Lawrence Vincent Lapone was acquitted in 2020 after testing positive for ligandrol for a year. Sexual contact was the cause of this. American softball player Madeleine Nichols won silver with her country at the 2020 Olympic Games, was released the same year after a positive doping test that was also due to sexual contact. So what did we learn here? Don't date a partner who's doping and don't have sex with them if they are. There you go. If you want to compete in the Olympics, just be safe and stay away from anybody who's doing drugs or performance drugs, I guess. Just, get away from me. I'm trying to compete in the Olympics. There's your 2 first wacky stories coming out of the sports world. On to yours.
Osmosis, right?
Osmosis.
Osmosis. I was sitting
Spermosis, more like, I think.
I couldn't move my head. I had my chair sitting on my cord. I was like, eh. In other weird news, we have a Tasmania collection. Real life Willy Wonka makes world's largest chocolate fountain if re-elected. This is from the Daily Star.
Diabetes for everyone.
Jeremy Ratcliffe has promised to build the world's largest chocolate fountain if he is re-elected as the Premier of Tasmania. A politician is promising to build. We're reading the headline 3 times. Jeremy Ratcliffe is the current Premier of Tasmania, hopes to fund a chocolate experience like no other. He has promised voters will bring about the greatest thing to happen to tourism in Tasmania. Ratcliffe claims the £6.2 million or $12 million build will take inspiration from the beloved Roald Dahl character and bring about a chocolate experience that will rewrite the must-see list for every visitor that comes to Tasmania. I just want to see the Tasmanian devil. Explaining his desire to make a chocolate experience like no other, Ratcliffe said 200 million chocolate bars are produced right here at Cadbury's at Claremont, employing some 450 Tasmanians. We want to build on that, add value. You can imagine some glass windows looking out over beautiful waters, and you would experience as you come through here the new building, the world's largest chocolate fountain, for example, a chocolate lab, an opportunity where Tasmanians can make their own Tasmanian chocolate with Tasmanian ingredients. Opposing Labour candidate Rebecca White said the Labour Party has already announced a $50 million no-interest loan programs that would be eligible for operators in the visitors economy to apply to, and I would welcome the proponents of the Cadbury visitor experience to make an application under our program. Fellow candidate Meg Webb, running as an independent, added that $12 million is a huge investment of money when you think about the ways it could be spent. Areas are absolutely screaming out for government support and actually government responsibilities. It's just virtue signaling to large corporates. They're throwing everything at the wall in a desperate attempt to stay in power. And of course,
Power of
Cadbury's
chocolate,
all
man.
for
The
it.
power of chocolate. That's what it is.
That's right. That's right. And what's it gonna feature? Let's see what else is gonna happen to Cadbury Willy Wonka. In addition, an enormous chocolate fountain, new attraction would include a 3D time tunnel, themed electric ferries, a chocolate emporium, and make your own chocolate bar experience, which we already covered. Another weird news. A woman was double swiping her card at a gas station and she gets arrested for it. This is according to the Associated Press. Associated Press, and the reporter's name is Lincoln, Nebraska. There's no reporter's name on it. This happened in Lincoln, Nebraska. A Nebraska woman allegedly found a lucrative quirk at a gas station pump, double swipe the rewards card and get free gas. Unfortunately for her, you can't do that, the prosecutor said. The 45-year-old woman was arrested on March 6th and faces felony theft charges accusing her of a crime that cost the gas station nearly $28,000. Prosecutors say the woman exploited the system over a period of several months. Police learned, how can you buy $28,000 worth of gas in just 1 year? That seems like a lot, unless other people are doing it. Police learned of a problem in October when the loss prevention manager at Bosselman Enterprises reported that the company's pump-in pantry in Lincoln had been scanned. Fuel pumps at the station received software update in November 22 that managed, among other things, rewards cards. But the company was unaware of a glitch that allowed anyone swiping a rewards card twice to put a gas pump into demonstration mode. In demo mode, the user could pump gas at no cost. A probable cause statement from the prosecutors said the loss prevention manager determined that one particular card had been used repeatedly to obtain free gas. Police were able to trace the card to a suspect, and video surveillance showed the woman pumping gas on multiple occasions from November 22nd to June 1st when the glitch was fixed, the statement said. Authorities believe the woman not only used a scam to get free gas, but she allowed another woman to use her card for a fee. Hey, entrepreneur, there you go. Authorities believe the woman not only is... Okay, the probable cause statement, let me get rid of this pop-up that just came up. The probable cause statement said the other woman told police that she paid to use the card for a discounted fuel. Authorities believe that the woman paid Thompson $500 for gas purchases that should have cost $700. All told, the card was used 510 times, and more than 7,400 gallons of gas were pumped for free. The probable cause statement said. The suspect is free on bond, has a court hearing on April 11th. The phone message was left Tuesday with her attorney. And I guess her attorney did return the call. And there's your story. We don't have a name. She's probably embarrassed as hell. But that's a lot of gas.
Yeah.
In 7 months. That means 7,400 gallons of gas. She's burning 100 gallons a month. So I guess.
Wow. That's a lot of gas.
That's 1,000 a month, right? 7 months, 7,000 gallons of gas, right? Well, it's her and her friend. I don't think I burn $1,000 of gas a month. What's she taking? Trips around the moon?
I don't know.
Well, anyway.
It reminds me of a funny story I saw on social media, which all my funny stories come from, in which a guy was being charged by a rental company for, I don't know, like 10,000 miles or something in a trip from Chicago to New York or something. And he was like, I would literally have to travel around the earth multiple times in order to spend 10,000 miles in that, like, in 2 days or something, right? It was a ridiculous amount in, like, 2 days or a one-day trip, and somehow he's being charged for an entire lifetime of a car smiles, and he was like, literally, this is impossible to do in 2 days. I would have to be going 200 miles per hour or something like that, or 500. I can't remember the actual mathematics behind it, but it's just like crazy. That's like, oh, are you sure there's not something wrong with your computer? Because there's no fucking way it's physically possible to do that.
Yeah, I got nothing.
You agree.
That's my 2 stories. Back to you.
I got nothing. You agree.
Woman was getting away with stuff, and she thought she was getting away with it forever, and that turns out you can't get away with it forever because accountants come in and go, how come we're losing so much money?
Hey, wait a minute.
We have no gas left and no money. What happened?
All right. In my 2 next weird stories, in Guatemala, ancient cultures consumed tobacco as a drink. This is from Karen Schult on Spectrum.de, so it's a German news site. The ancient cultures of America loved tobacco, mostly in the form of cigars. But the nicotine-containing plant was not only smoked, people also added the tobacco leaves to liquids. This is shown by chemical analysis of approximately 13,000-year-old clay vessels from the El Baul site in Guatemala. Tobacco may have been consumed in drinks during purification rituals. Researchers led by Adam Negrin from the University of New York reported in the journal Antiquity. The El Baul site belongs to the Cozumalwapa culture, a Mesoamerican civilization in southern Guatemala that existed during the late Classic period between 1650 and 950. Excavators have discovered numerous building victims in the remains of the sweat bath. These are clay vessels that were buried under the floor as votive offerings. Negrin and his colleagues examined some of the vessels using chemical analysis methods, liquid chromatography, and mass spectrometry to determine which substances were once filled into this mostly tubular ceramic cups. Negrin and his colleagues detected the substance nicotine in 3 containers. However, due to their shape, these vessels were not used for smoking, but for drinking. Tobacco played an important role in ancient cultures of Central America. People mostly smoked the dry leaves as plant or cigars. Tobacco was also chewed or snorted into ground form. Ethnological reports from Amazon suggest that tobacco consumed in liquids was intended to put people into trance-like states. Just a nicotine high, I guess. Drinking large amounts of nicotine is toxic and potentially fatal. While Negrin and his team in Antiquity said, such use makes it clear that the ritual practitioners used tobacco as an anesthetic. The Maya of modern times also used tobacco liquids for medicinal purposes. Okay, so there's your fun fact about, knocking yourself out with nicotine tea, I guess. In flight news, this is coming from Mercury News by David Goldman and Gregory Wallace. Alaska Airlines Flight 1282, on which a door plug blew off the side of the plane shortly after takeoff on January 5th, was scheduled to be taken out of service for maintenance the night of the incident, an airline has said on Tuesday. So it took them until March 12th to finish their investigation on why the door plug flew off. Although Alaska Airlines did not say why the plane was set to be taken out of service, the airline told the New York Times, which first reported the scheduled safety check, that the plane was set to be removed from service to investigate 2 separate warning lights that alerted the crew to a potential pressurization problem on the plane over the 10 days prior to the blowout, and that they still went to send it flying. Jennifer Homendy, chair of the National Transportation Service, told CNN on January 8th that she was aware the plane had pressurized issues before the door plug blew out. The safety regulator planned on probing Alaska Airlines about the incident, but the NTSB later clarified that it believed that pressurization warnings were unrelated to the side of the plane blowing out mid-air. The NTSB said the warning started appearing just weeks after the plane was delivered, in early December, and most recently happened the day before the door plug blowout incident. So that it was faulty to begin with, and they just continued to use it in service. Max Tidewell was the vice president for safety and security for Alaska Airlines. It's like, we already spent $1 billion on this plane. What's the likelihood it will depressurize the cabin? Probably not that high. The safety and security Max Tidewell told the New York Times that the airline did not believe the indicator lights posed a serious enough problem. Why do we make those? They don't mean anything. To take the plane out of service sooner without carrying passengers. We'll put it on one flight just to make sure that it's broken. Such deferred maintenance is common and legal. Great. Maybe pass some laws for regulating that, but you know, unlikely. A plane has made 154 successful flights before the blowout. That's a lot of flights. So the 155th flight is that's your limit there, guys. If it says, hey, depressurized cabin, don't worry, you can fly it for 155 times before it explodes. In its preliminary investigation, the NTSB found that Boeing probably did not put required bolts into the door plugs. The bolts, it's always the bolts, man. You think by now people would check their bolts. It's always the bolts. The bolts are designed to prevent the part from blowing off the plane to begin with. It's not clear that an expedited maintenance schedule would have led Alaska Airlines to discover that problem. However, engineers were concerned enough about the warning lights that the airline prevented the plane from carrying passengers on long-haul routes over water in case of emergency, according to New York Times. Okay, and nobody's getting fined or anything for this, are they? Like, is there a punishment?
Boeing is...
The U.S. aviation system is the safest in the world because it relies on layers, redundant system, robust processes and procedures, and the willingness to stop and ensure things are right before they even take off. Alaska Airlines said in a statement, "We remain confident in our maintenance and safety action leading up to the incident." That's really interesting. So you have an incident happen and say, wow, well, we still believe that we did the right things. Okay, no mistakes are done. We're perfect. We look forward to continuing our participation in robust investigations led by NTSB to ensure something like this never happens again. Okay. Alaska Airlines stock fell marginally in after-hours trading. The airline has largely avoided heavy scrutiny in the incident, as the blame has largely been laid on Boeing. I mean, it was a manufacturing defect, fair enough, but it should have just never happened. Hey, I think your plane's fucked up. We're returning it, that's what... We're not paying for this plane. Following the preliminary results of the probe, Boeing has been subjected to congressional hearings, production and delivery delays, multiple federal investigations, including a criminal probe, and a stock that has lost more than a quarter of its value this year, shaving up more than $40 billion off the company's market valuation. Although the revelation that the plane was scheduled for service the same day as the blowout does not necessarily suggest any wrongdoings by Alaska Airlines, it does rather raise further concerns about the policies of regulation surrounding maintenance of America's fleet of aircraft. Yeah, the aviation system is the safest in the world, I don't know where they're getting that statistic from, but that's Alaska Airlines claims they have the safest aviation system in the world. And that's why we can ignore safety lights, because, hey, we have the safest thing that's going to carry us all the way through the sky. So there you go. There's your update on the Boeing blowout disaster, I guess, and your story.
Beautiful plumage. It's like a dead parrot sketch.
Honestly, fitting for wacky news right there. It's just wacky.
Yeah, it's wacky when your plane's falling apart. This will make a great skit at my funeral. In other weird news, a mysterious 10-foot-tall monolith that looks like some sort of a UFO pops up at a Welsh Hills from CBS News. Lee Cohen. Lee Cohen. I believe it's pronounced Lee. I would pronounce it Lee. Lee Cohen. I like a short name. It doesn't take you very long to write your name. It's 2 letters, right? A mystery surrounds Catherine, the Princess of Wales. It also abounds in the country named after her royal title. A massive steel monolith, nearly the height of a semi-truck, has popped up in Wales, according to local reports, and nobody knows where it came from. Wales Online reported on Tuesday that locals have come across a 10-foot-tall object on a hill in Hay-on-Wye, Hay-on-Wye, an area known worldwide for its books and bookshops. One local resident, Richard Haynes, told the outlet that he came across while running on Hay Bluff, which he does regularly. He missing a word in there. It looked like a bit bizarre, but it might be a scientific media research thing to collect rainwater, he told Wales Online, but then I realized it was way too tall and strange for that. Haynes said the object was at least 10 feet tall, triangular, and definitely stainless steel. It was hollow and I imagine pretty light enough for two people to carry it up and plant it on the ground. This was the first time Haynes said he'd ever come across the monolith. A friend of his who was in the same spot 2 weeks ago also hadn't come across it at that point. He said indicated it's only been up for a short period of time. Another man, Craig Muir, told the PA news agency he also came across the structure on Tuesday morning. At first, he thought it looked like some sort of a UFO. In a video posted on Facebook, Muir said he'd never seen this before. I was a bit taken aback, he told the news agency. It looked perfectly leveled and steady, despite the weather being windy. This isn't the only mysterious monolith to emerge in the UK or even elsewhere in the world. In 2020, two monoliths briefly appeared just months apart in Colorado, California, and Utah. Those objects appear similar to the one that has emerged in Wales. Many assume those cases were some sort of art installation that brought comparisons to the monolith in the movie 2001 Space Odyssey. So yeah, I know one of these things they called it a UFO, but it's not flying, so it's not a UFO. Silliest thing in the world.
Yeah,
it's an unidentified, not
placed object,
station.
Okay? Standing object.
All right, so yeah, that's it. Yeah. And other weird news. This is Associated Press. What the hell happened? My article. It just disappeared. Woohoo! Hey, I like when my screen goes blank. Okay. Okay, here we go. How do animals react during total solar eclipse? And scientists plan to find out in April. This is Associated Press. No byline. Wait, there might be a name on it. Hold on. Nope. When a total solar eclipse transforms day into night, will tortoises start acting romantic? Will giraffes gallop? Will apes sing odd notes? Researchers will be standing by to observe how animals' routines at the Fort Worth Zoo in Texas are disrupted when skies dim on April 8th. Of course, there'll be a total eclipse they'll be able to see from like Austin, Texas is the best place to see it.
Well,
don't think
I'll be there, but I can ask a friend who lives there to film it for me, I guess.
Yeah, just don't look directly at the sun. The previously detected other strange animal behaviors in a 2017 in the South Carolina Zoo that was in the path of total darkness. To our astonishment, most of the animals did surprising things, said Adam Hartstone Rose, a North Carolina State University researcher who led the observations published in the journal Animals. While there are many individual sightings of critters behaving bizarrely during historic eclipses, only in recent years have scientists started to rigorously study the altered behaviors of wild domestic zoo animals. 7 years ago, Galapagos tortoises at the Riverbank Zoo in Columbia, South Carolina, that generally do absolutely nothing all day. During the peak of the eclipse, they started breeding, said Hartstone Rose. The cause of the behavior is still unclear. Mated pair of Siamons, gibbons that usually call each other in the morning, sang unusual terms during the afternoon eclipse. A few male giraffes began to gallop in apparent anxiety. The flamingos huddled around their juveniles. Researchers say that many animals display behaviors connected with the early dusk. In April, Hartstone Rose's team plans to study similar species in Texas, see if the behaviors they witnessed before in South Carolina point to larger patterns. Several other zoos along the path are also inviting visitors to help track animals, including zoos in Little Rock, Arkansas, Toledo, Ohio, and Indianapolis. This year's full solar eclipse in North America crisscrosses a different route than in 2017 and occurs in a different season, giving researchers and scientists opportunities to observe new habits. It's really high stakes. We have a really short period to observe them, and we can't repeat the experiment, said Jennifer Soroda, a University of Tennessee entomologist who observed honeybee colonies during the 2017 eclipse. The honeybees that usually Soroda studied increased foraging during the eclipse, as they usually would at night, except for those from the hungriest hive. During the solar eclipse, there's conflict between the internal rhythms and external environment, said University of Alberta's Olav Ruppel, adding that bees rely on polarization light from the sun to navigate. Nate Brickford, an animal researcher at Oregon Institute of Technology, said the solar eclipse actually mimics short, fast-moving storms when skies darken and many animals take shelter. After the 2017 eclipse, he analyzed data from tracking devices previously placed on wild species to study habitat use. Flying bald eagles change their speed and direction they are moving during an eclipse, he said. So do feral horses, probably taking cover, responding to the possibility of a storm out of the open plains. The last full U.S. solar eclipse to span coast to coast happened in late summer in August. The upcoming eclipse in April gives researchers an opportunity to ask new questions, including about potential impacts on spring migration. Most songbird species migrate at night. When there are night-like conditions during the eclipse, will birds think it is time to migrate and take flight? His team plans to test this by analyzing weather radar data, which also detects the presence of flying birds, bats, and insects, to see if more birds take wing during the eclipse. As for indoor pets, they may react as much as to what their owners are doing, whether they're excited about or nonchalant about the eclipse, as to any changes in the sky, said University of Arkansas animal researcher Rafali Lesh. Dogs and cats pay a lot of attention to us in addition to their internal clocks, he said. There's your eclipse affecting animals news. Sorry, it doesn't seem all that
No, it's
bizarre.
really interesting, honestly. Like, do animals freak out, you know? Are they gonna freak out? Are they gonna... The birds are gonna go to sleep for 2 seconds and, oh, it's nighttime.
Well, 20 minutes or so.
Oh shit, where did the sun go? Oh, I guess it's time to go to sleep. that was a really fast sunset. No. I mean, how most animals work, right, is humans included, because we are animals, is we work on that kind of color, basically. Right? So that's why if you stare at your computer all day, you never get tired, because all you're getting is that blue light that's saying it's daytime, it's daytime. So if you put like a filter on your computer or even your phone that makes your screen go red and red as it gets later, your eyes will start going. It happens to me all the time when I'm streaming and I'm playing video games. I'm like, why am I getting so sleepy? Oh, my red light filter's on. So I'm just like, it's my body is saying time to sleep. So I think when there's an eclipse, you don't get that red light transference. It just instantly is gone. So I don't think you have a strong physical. It's mostly just like being put in a dark room, I think, maybe. But I don't know. I guess they'll find out on April 8th at the zoos. They'll find out. All right. In my culture segment, I saw this, what I want to consider a really weird article, which is from The Independent, which is about Sydney Sweeney's hotness and the death of woke. Now, for any people unaware, woke culture is actually just another way of saying black culture. For a very long time, it's meant that without actually saying it, because even though racists are racist, they don't want anyone to know they're being racist. So they use a different word, but woke culture explicitly is, wow, that's a little too cultural for me. I wanted to be normal and everything just plain white. I don't know. So I guess the argument here is because Sydney Sweeney is hot and a white hot girl, woke culture is dead. We're no longer gonna like
It makes no
twerking.
sense at all. Makes no sense at all.
So that's why I chose to read this article, because I think it's very interesting opinion. Sometimes I should see who's written by, actually, because it is written by somebody. This article is written by
of their logic.
Helen Kofi. There you go. It's written by a white woman, by the way, because they have a picture of her, so I know she's a white woman talking about another white woman's ending woke culture. Sometimes, amid the constant overload of social media and online news, you see a headline so staggering that it cuts through the noise and leaves you speechless, wondering how we got here. Most recently, that headline for our author here, or our writer here, our journalist. Wokeness is no match for Sydney Sweeney's undeniable beauty. Because, yeah, wokeness is telling people to be ugly. I don't know.
It just
She had to read it and reread it, and then she had to put her glasses on and read it again. Every time she looked, it made less sense. I agree. This particular article was a comment piece in the National Post, and opened with a sentence even more sensationally ludicrous than the headline. Are Sydney Sweeney's breasts double D harbingers of death of woke? Double D harbingers, hell yeah. I'm gonna say that now as to new people I meet. Hey, hi, I'm Allison. I've got some double D harbingers.
What's a harbinger? They'll say to you. Please walk around and hand out thesauruses.
Yeah, I have no idea. The argument put forth seems to be that because people have enjoyed watching the conventionally gorgeous actor from The White Lotus wearing a low-cut dress on Saturday Night Live, right-wing values have won. Woohoo!
Wow.
Stepford Wives have returned! Or something? She struggles to follow the logic, if she's honest. She also couldn't see where Sweeney's low-hanging fruit Hooter sketch fit into the equation, but maybe she's just not intellectual enough. Yeah, okay. People want to look at beauty on TV, and in art generally, but we're being starved of it because attractiveness is deemed immoral, writes Amy Ham, columnist. As such, beauty is now political. For this, we can thank the tyrannical woke, and ironically, minority vanguard that has for years coerced our culture into pretending that beautiful things are beautiful, unbeautiful things are beautiful. Okay, sure. Maybe she's just maybe Amy has some, like, problems with her self-worth and she needs to go to a therapist. Every time I read anything like this, I'm like, sounds like you need to go to a therapist. Wrapped in revealing little black dress, Sydney thanks the cast, the crew. Oh, she's a hero. Lorne Michaels and giggles and bounces in a familiar way. Ha 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 ha. Like that, I guess. I haven't seen in decades, writes comedian and Spectator columnist Bridget Fetisi of Sweeney's SNL appearance. For anyone under the age of 25, they've likely never seen it in their lifetime. You know those movies with sexist portrayals of women still exist, and you can watch them anytime. All the way from the golden age of Hollywood to today. They're all available. Kids are not only watching what's recently released in theaters. Sometimes they watch stuff that's been released 50 years ago. I know, crazy concept here. Time is not always in the future. But the giggling blonde was an amazing rack. Has been stamped out of existence. A creature shamed to the brink of extinction. As somebody with not blonde hair, I can tell you blonde people still exist. She read both of these hot takes with disbelief. Bordering on hysteria, like laughing hysterically, like, where am I? Firstly, the suggestion that the kind of beauty that Sweeney represents, white, thin yet curvy, masses of tumbling golden hair, and a pretty face that can switch between sweet and sexy, the two patriarchy-approved states of womanhood, had somehow been eradicated is downright laughable. No, we may not have Page 3 or Playboy nudes anymore. Baywatch may have been replaced with fewer swimsuit-based television shows, but somehow I don't think the straight-up hot contingent of women, blessed by genetic gods or some a very good surgeon, have been struggling in the wilderness for the last 25 years. I'm too beautiful and nobody will hire me for anything. Oh, my life is struggle. Both articles make out as if the body positivity movement and push for greater diversity on screen in beauty campaigns has made conventional attractiveness a crime. In fact, the very reason those movements came into being is that we've made very little headway when it comes to pushing back against near impossible beauty standards. Aside from the fact that we've had plenty of voluptuous yet slim and very important distinction women admire over the past couple of decades, from Scarlett Johansson to Christina Hendricks to Sofia Vergara to Kate Upton, the cult of the Kardashians even, influencer and culture and the parade of Love Islanders means the pressure to hit every single modern beauty tick box, big boobs, tiny waist, perfect round bum, curvy hips, the Instagram face has only grown stronger and more pervasive. The Sweeneys of the world are hardly so surprised, ostracized by society that has deemed beauty defunct or immoral. In fact, they remain and always been the standard to which all women are held and found wanting. Boobs aside, the argument that we're being starved of beauty because attractiveness is deemed immoral holds up to barely a second scrutiny. When was the last time you watched a film or TV show and thought, damn, if only everyone in this wasn't so horrendously ugly? It's really ruining my vibe. Ah, God, they're hideous. Every corner of our media is still dominated by capitalized, beautiful people. On the flip side, if we are starting to see the shift somewhat in favor of more interesting stories and diverse characters, there are benefits, surely. She doesn't recall anyone binging Succession and complaining that there weren't enough hotties to make it worth their while. The fact that people like looking at breasts and a beautiful woman in general is a tale as old as time. No one is denying it to be true. No one is outlawing beauty or suggesting we're not allowed to find attractive people attractive. The body positivity movement was never about shaming conventional beauty, but learning to accept ourselves the way we are, and in doing so expand the historically narrow and limited vision of what beauty can look like. It's not about pushing voluptuous blondes out of the club, but about letting more people in. I also want to add to her point that the body positive movement is also about realizing what humans look like. We're so used to the kind of Barbie doll figure that we forget that it's actually normal for a human to look like this, or like this, or like this, right? But we only see one type of body or 3 types of bodies on the screen. So then everyone's like, when they see real people who aren't being paid to be beautiful, basically, they're like, oh, they're hideous. It's like, actually, they just look normal. That is the baseline, dude. So people have too high of expectations because of these beauty standards, and then the body positivity movement just wants you to remember people look normal. Normal looks. As with many totally benign things that somehow get hijacked into perpetual culture wars, she mainly found the whole thing vaguely exhausting. Why a desirable young woman proudly flashing her assets on TV should be interpreted as an inherently conservative act, she can simply cannot fathom. Isn't a woman owing her sexuality more of a liberal move? Or is that the only case when the woman in question is deemed unfuckable? Hot and flaunting your body? Right wing. Hot enough and flaunting it? Not hot enough and flaunting it? Woke. She must have missed the PSA declaring that as the new ideological benchmark. Whether or not you agree that Sydney Sweeney has a great rack, please, for the love of Hooters, stop politicizing it. So there you go. There's the little blurb here from The Independent and Helen Coffey, and I have to agree with it. So what weird world we live in.
Yeah, it is. Again, the original model, I guess the model was the skinny girl with no curves whatsoever.
Literally
The ones you see in the model.
Your pelvic bone popping out of your...
Right. Weighs 70 pounds, eats a grain of rice every day, right? That's nobody's ideal that I've ever met as a woman, right? But the people tell you got to be that way. That's not woke. How is that unwoke or anything? It's basically, it's the fashion industry trying to sell dresses. Yeah. And they think they look better on skinny people. That's all it is. And the fashion industry is gay men. I'm sorry, but they're the ones that design the clothes. The most, if there are any men at all involved, it's gay men. So It's not exactly a man's ideal of a woman, and anyway. And by the way, Sir Mix-a-Lot, I think this is all in response to Sir Mix-a-Lot, so I sent you a Sir Mix-a-Lot video.
Yeah. I like big boobs and butts, and I cannot lie. I guess.
Right. Well, it's a remix. Let's start with a remix. You gotta watch it. Anyway, I'll do this day in history while you peruse it, hopefully. Or hopefully look at it. But I think it's just, like you said, woke is not even, has anything to do with this. I don't even know what this lady's even talking about. Woke means waking up to the fact that, hey, this country is not fair to all people. What the hell's so revolutionary about that? I have no idea. This day in history. Okay, let's get back to my intended purpose in life here. This day in history. What happened on this day on March 13th? 1642, the Marquis de Cinq-Mars, a favorite of King Louis VIII of France, signed a secret treaty with King Philip IV of Spain in a plot to overthrow Cardinal Richelieu. Oh man, I get the hiccups every time I gotta read this. All right. 1741, on this day, the Holy Roman Emperor Joseph II, who was the first co-ruler with his mother Maria Theresa, and then acted as the sole ruler of Austria Habsburg dominions, was born. Okay, that was a long way to go. 1809, shortly after Sweden surrendered Finland to Russia, Swedish King Gustav IV Adolf was thrown. Swedish King Gustav IV Adolf was thrown. Okay, overthrown. Okay, that makes no sense. His name was Swedish King Gustav IV Adolf? That's weird. Way to go, Sweden. Way to confuse me. 1870, in this day, artist William J. Glackens, whose paintings of street scenes and urban life rejected the dictates of 19th century academic art and introduced a matter-of-fact realism in American art, was born. Had to define who he was and say he was born. In 1881 is the anniversary of the assassination of Tsar Alexander of Russia. Today, he was assassinated in 1881. He was assassinated in St. Petersburg. In 1884, in this day, Al-Mahdi began the siege of Khartoum, capital of Sudan, which was defended by Egyptian garrison under British General Charles George Gordon. In 1886, American aerial photographer Albert W. Stevenson was born in Belfast, Maine. He took the first photograph of the Earth's curvature and the first photograph of the moon's shadow on Earth during a solar eclipse in 1932. 1911, L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of the Church of Scientology, was born in Tilden, Nebraska. Or was he? He may have just passed from another dimension. 1925, the Tennessee legislature passed a bill that banned the teaching of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution in the state's public school. A highly publicized trial, high school teacher John T. Scopes was later convicted of breaking the law. Yeah, there you go. Trying to teach people knowledge. You silly man. 1938, the Anschluss political union between Austria and Germany was announced. Way to go, Austria and Germany getting together to be Nazis. Oh, can't say that word. 1986, Soviet cosmonaut Leonid Kizim and Vladimir Solovev were sent aloft aboard the Soyuz spacecraft to rendezvous with the spacecraft's space station Mir and become its first occupants. So, Space Station Mir got its first tenants this day in 1986. Not too long after the space shuttle blew up, the first one that blew up. Like a month after, really.
Wow.
1996, a gunman invaded a primary school in the small Scottish town of Dunblane and shot to death 16 young school children and their teacher before turning a gun on himself. The school shooting resulted in various changes to British gun laws. You see what they do in some countries? When that happens, they change the laws and say, we don't want this to happen again. Maybe there's something we can do. Old-fashioned approach to
Hands are
maybe
tied,
solving a
man.
problem.
I'm getting lobbied, and they're taking me out to steak dinners. Sorry, I can't do anything for you.
In this country, you only get corrected on the type of gun they use. That's all that ever happens. It's like, you can't ban that type of gun because it's not the same type that was used in the shooting. I'm like, what the fucking cares what was used in the shooting? It's dangerous. It's dangerous. They are dangerous. Right? And use some sense here. 2012, Encyclopedia Britannica Inc. announced that it was ceasing publication of its print version. The oldest and longest continually published English language general print encyclopedia. Of course, that's the site I am reading this from. It's Britannica.com. 2017, George Mario Bergoglio. Guess who that is? That's the Pope. That's his real name. The Archbishop of Buenos Aires was elected Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, taking the name of Francis I. He succeeded Pope Benedict XVI, who had resigned. We had to do one of those things where we try to guess people's real names. In 2020, Breonna Taylor, an African-American EMT, who was killed by Louisville, Kentucky police officers as they burst into her apartment during a botched raid. Her death led to massive protests and Black Lives Matter activists and others who called for police reform. Of course, the unwoke, or the people that hate woke, are still trying to justify it. Because they're, I don't know. American boxer Marvin Hagler in 2021 died at the age of 66, one of the best boxers of all time. Otherwise, we wouldn't know about him, right? Time capsule, March 13th, 1999. Isidore de Souza, Benin religious figure, dies. And birthdays today. Susan B. Anthony. Well, not a birthday. Our future biography, Susan B. Anthony, died in this day in 1906 at the age of 86. She was born February 15th, 1820 in Adams, Massachusetts, and she passed away in Rochester, New York. It says anniversary tomorrow, but that's today. Why do they're confusing me. Other birthdays: Joseph II, Holy Roman Empire, was born in 1741. Charles Grey, 2nd Earl of Grey, also the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, was born in 1764. Percival Lowell, American astronomer, born in 1855. We covered L. Ron Hubbard. Mahmoud Darwish, Palestinian poet, born in 1942 on this day. And what day is it besides National Earmuff Day? It's National Registered Dietitian Nutritionist Day. You got a young lady looking at an apple as if it solved all of her problems. National Open and Umbrella Indoors Day. Now, why you would want to do that? Oh, I don't know.
Bad luck.
It's raining in here.
Time to get some bad luck for the rest of the year. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's bad luck, I hear. Not as bad as being caught outdoors without an umbrella. National Coconut Torte Day. Coconut. National Good Samaritan Day. That should be every day. But appreciate them Good Samaritans. They don't have to do shit, and there they are doing shit that they didn't have to do. Pat them on the back. Shake their hand. National Dermatologist Day. You got bad skin? You love your dermatologist. National Jewel Days today, and National Canine Veterans Day. Salute them canine veterans by patting them on the head. They'll appreciate more than anything else, probably. And that's all your days for today, which is still March 13th, although it seems like it's been weeks since we started the show. It's March 13th, 2024, and it's Before Coffee.
Hell yeah. All right, that's been our wacky news segment for today. Tomorrow will be Themeless Thursday. We're just going to talk about whatever we want. I hope you have a good one out there. Stay safe. Don't fly Alaska Airlines, I guess, because they just let their doors blow out. I guess don't fly a Boeing either. Just fly Airbus, I guess. That's the only other company I know.
Don't ever fly a plane again.
Planes? Yeah, just fly yourself. Just put some wings on you're probably safer if you just Do this.
Don't worry about it, man.
Anyways, jokes aside, here is your mic drop moment about Sweeney. About Sweeney.
Seattle, are you in the house? Okay. It's the selfie from hell. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try a little something you may have never heard before. And this genius back here, by the way, this man is the shiznit. Trust me. Go ahead. What? I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get strong. Wanna pull up tough cause you notice that butt was stuck deep in the jeans she's wearing. I'm hooked and I can't stop staring. Oh baby, I wanna get with ya and take your picture. My homeboys tried to warn me, but that butt you got me. Ooh, rapper smooth skin. You say you wanna get in my bins? Well, use me, cause you ain't that average groovy. I seen her dancing, to hell with romancing. She's sweating. And I'm tired of magazines, saying black butts are the thing. Check the average black man and ask him that. She gotta pack much back. Where's my fellas? Fellas! When your girlfriend got the butt, tell him to shake it. Shake it. Shake that big old butt. And baby got back. Yeah. He's smiling his ass off.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.